Who's scruffy looking?
Welcome back, everybody, to the Talking with My Hans Book Review Club. We've had a lot of great books on this channel so far, but I don't think we've had a book that's been quite as controversial as the one that we've covered this week, and that's Poe Dameron Freefall by Alex Segura. Why was this so controversial in some Star Wars circles? Well, I think a lot of folks didn't agree with the decision that Lucasfilm made to kind of shoehorn in a little bit of a backstory for Poe of him being a spice runner. Some saw it to be a little bit of an egregious decision that maybe fed into some stereotypes of the character. However, I don't really like people saying that because no one really has read the book yet. If that's something that you're saying and you haven't checked out this book by Alex Segura yet, that's sort of silly because there's a lot more to the character and a lot more to the backstory that we didn't get in The Rise of Skywalker that Segura covers in this book that goes above and beyond just spice running. But just how good was Freefall by Alex Segura? Well, as you know, you're just going to have to watch this review to find out. Like I said, this week we covered Poe Dameron Freefall by Alex Segura, which takes place around 18 years after the Battle of Yavin, which makes Poe a teenager at the time of the novel. However, it's been just a few years since the passing of his mother, Shara. Poe is fed up with living with his father, who is constantly trying to save Poe from himself. Poe gets the perfect opportunity to show his father he can handle himself when the Spice Runners of Kijimi and Zorii Wind show up in a local bar looking for a pilot. Poe joins the gang, and over the course of the book, he has to prove to himself what kind of person he really wants to be on his own. I gotta be honest, going in I wasn't expecting too much from this book. My expectations weren't non-existent, but they were low. Because I like to keep an open mind, and so many fans had written this book off to be a backtracking cover-up story to the controversial addition to Poe's backstory from The Rise of Skywalker, I just decided to not go looking for problems. But even with my best effort, some did arise. While there are plenty of enjoyable parts of this book, the beginning isn't one of them. Personally, I never really felt the tension between Poe's father, Poe Dameron, and Poe himself. Segura mentions their fights, but never do you really see them at odds. Usually I don't sweat not seeing things that aren't integral to the main part of the story, but seeing as Poe's relationship with Kez is the main reason for him running away in the book, I felt like more time was needed to be spent there, and there just wasn't. There are also some parts of this book that just seem to be going through the motions. I have all the respect in the world for Alex Segura, who was given a difficult task to come up with a feature-length novel about a piece of Poe's past that was seemingly tossed in on a whim. But some parts through the meat of this book seem to not really have a purpose other than to show Poe doing Spice Runner things. I don't mind seeing Poe in his element per se, but I wish that some of the chapters in Freefall played more of a crucial role in the overall plot. However, I will say this, where the book fell short showing the dynamic between Poe and his father, where it really shines is his relationship with Zorii. I won't share any of the juicy details since this book is still fairly new, but I will say that the tension is real. Those subtle, well, I guess not so subtle nods of sexual tension have some great precedence. Some of the best parts of this book are when Poe and Zorii are together, and luckily that's most of the book. Another part about this book that I really loved was the fact that there was no clear antagonist until the last third of the book. This is not a spoiler by any means, but Alex Segura gets really creative with his use of the New Republic military in this book. Obviously, it would seem in most cases the New Republic would play the role as the protagonist, but in this book, they don't for the most part. The main New Republic officer, Sela Troon, is young and ambitious and won't stop at anything to bring justice to the Spice Runners. This is a great echo of how many of the Imperial officers are described in some of the stories surrounding the Galactic Civil War, and it really puts into perspective how the criminal enterprises of the galaxy view authority.
But what I think sets this book apart from all others is that it's one of the very true coming-of-age stories in the Star Wars franchise. Sure, you can make the argument that almost all of the movies are coming-of-age movies in some shape or form, but they aren't really in the purest form of the definition. Poe Dameron Freefall is the story of a boy running away from home thinking he's a man, but quickly realizes life isn't what you think it is out in the big, bad, scary universe, and it forces him to make a decision on what kind of person he really wants to be to make a difference for the better. As a sucker for movies and shows of that nature, this book definitely stood out for me, and I know it will for so many of you. So the time has come again, the final verdict for Poe Dameron Freefall by Alex Segura. For a novel that was centered around an unexpected twist in Poe's backstory, it's surprisingly enjoyable. I'm not sure if it's worth rushing to your local bookstore to get right this minute, but I do think it's worth a read. Not to mention, this really bolsters the rise of Skywalker in all the right ways. It makes a so-so scene have that much more depth. Since it's been out for a while and I think some of you have read it, what did you guys think of it? Was it worth the read? Did it leave you more satisfied with Poe's story from the Rise of Skywalker? Let me know in the comments, and until next time, I'll see you guys later.